Let's take a 77-year-old man with a PSA of 13.42, a negative biopsy in December of 2015, and now we're 2 years later in 2017. So he's obviously undergone MRI as part of a surveillance program with a negative biopsy. We've got axial T2, 2D fast spin echo imaging, 3mm cuts. We also have the 3D images as well, and we may show those or not. Let's scroll up to the base, seminal vesicles, and vas deferens. Let's scroll down towards the apex. And when we get down low in the apex region, I'm sure you all remember that the peripheral zone is going to get bigger, so the prostate gland is going to look like this. You're going to have a central region that's here, a fibromuscular region that's here, and the peripheral zone, you're going to have the PZ here. And the PZ is going to be divided up into anterior and posterior, maybe a little bit medial, so PZA, PZP, PZM, and so on. So in the back, in the region of the PZM and PZP, say PZP right here, and PZM right here, we've got a trapezoidal-shaped abnormality. So let's look at it, and I'm going to call right up the 1600 B-value diffusion image. And there is a bright area corresponding to this area. If we smoke them with our cursor, they are in the exact same position. There they are. So what has happened here? When we went from the B-value of 0, which I haven't shown, to 400, to 800, to 1200, to 1600, this area got brighter and brighter and brighter. That's pretty self-explanatory. If we correlated this area with the ADC map, let's do that. Let's look at the map. That's the exact spot. The diffusion is restricted. The velocity is low. So this parametric map shows low signal intensity. So we've got in the peripheral zone major criteria for a RADS 4 lesion. In other words, focal diffusion restriction that is well defined, that is mass-like, that progressively and intensively increases in signal and is clear and sharp on the diffusion-weighted image. And it is corresponding, maybe the images are just slightly a little off, because right there, that corresponds very nicely to this locus and to this shape. And we also have a second lesion on the opposite side. Now that second lesion does not have a correlate on the T2. It does have a correlate on the diffusion image. It does have a correlate on the ADC map. So that one is a little bit in question. So let's check it out on the contrast-enhanced dynamic MRI, or DCE MRI. Well, first and foremost, our central lesion, our lesion in the apical portion of the prostate, so prostate apical mass, trapezoid-shaped, we'll measure it. It's under 1.5 centimeters. It involves more than 50% of the right side of the peripheral zone, so that automatically makes it a T2B lesion. It looks like it crosses the midline on dynamic contrast enhanced MRI, again, a T2B lesion. It does not violate the capsule in any way, and the other lesion that we saw did not enhance. So I kind of use that as a tiebreaker, but we'll direct them to biopsy this lesion, although this one would be categorized as a RADS 3 because it doesn't have a very good correlate on the ADC map. It doesn't have a very good correlate on the T2 in the peripheral zone, but this is going to be a RADS 4. Now it's a 4 for a number of reasons. It's a 4 because there is a discrete abnormality on the T2 weighted image in the peripheral zone that correlates on DWI, which is the major criteria, focal, markedly hypointense on the ADC map. Let's get the map down again so we have a nice correlation. Focally hypointense on the ADC map and markedly hyperintense on the high B value DWI, but not greater than 1.5 centimeters. So our criteria is already met. So the DCE MRI, which I pulled down, was just a helper. It showed early enhancement in the first 10 or 20 seconds after injection. It showed some crossing of the midline. It did not show the other accessory lesion. So this is going to be a higher grade Gleason 7, 8, 9, or 10 cancer. I don't know what this turned out to be pathologically, but this would be categorized as a RADS 3 because it doesn't have a good correlate on the ADC map. It does have some diffusion restriction. It had nothing on the T2, so it's got some mixed character to it. So we have one RADS 3 lesion. We've got one RADS 4 lesion that meets all the criteria, under 1.4 centimeters in size, not crossing the anatomic capsule, not invading the neurovascular bundle. This would be an example of a right-sided PZA, PZP, and M crossing the midline, T stage 2B, less than 1 centimeter in size, not crossing the capsule, not invading the neurovascular bundle, RADS 4.